This is a pitch to ask you to join us at the American Schooner Association. Founded in 1972, the American Schooner Association is dedicated to the history, preservation, and promotion of the schooner rig. You don't need to be a schooner owner to join the organization, just to be interested in these beautiful boats. As time marches forward, the role that schooners played in the history of our country is fading too. Your membership helps support educational programs and provides a base for preserving these vessels. So, join us. It's inexpensive, important, and we'd love to have you along. We'll see you at amschooner.net.
Well, welcome aboard, everybody. It is great to see you. I'm Duncan Hood, and on behalf of the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race and the American Schooner Association, I'd like to welcome you all here to this wonderful presentation with two of my good friends, Ken Kaye. Hi, Ken.
Hello.
And Jen Kaye.
Hello.
Hey, how cool is that? Very nice. I actually worked for Ken and Jen a long time ago, and we've known each other for many years, especially from the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race. So all in all, we've had a pretty cool time. Now, before we get going, I would like to do a little bit of housekeeping here with the rest of you all. If you wouldn't mind opening your chat boxes, the chat box is at the bottom of your screen. If you mouse over, you'll see a little thing that says chat. Just type in where you're connecting from. I'm going to start off by saying Annapolis. And let's see what we got. Good, New Jersey, Arnold, Detroit. Okay. Can you believe it, Jen? It's working. Woo, woo, it's amazing. Okay, that's great. All right. Well, hello, Jim and Doris in town. That's nice. I'm from Falmouth, Massachusetts, Middle River. Cool.
Oh, Bill Milet. Oh, yeah, he used to work with us too.
Yeah. We love that. Great fun. So this chat box is going to stay open. If you all would like to, send a couple comments to us while the thing is going on, please do so. And of course, we also have a Q&A box running. And if people feel more comfortable entering their questions in the Q&A, please do. Hi, Captains Ken and Jen. Maine, something's wrong with my punch. Tastes like tea. You tell me. I love that. Hey, the two of you, if you would take just a minute. Ken, why don't we start with you and then we'll go with Jen. Tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up doing what you're doing. And now that you're retired, take us into that.
Well, let's see. Oh my goodness. Want me to start from the beginning?
Well, not the super beginning. We know you were born.
Well, I taught instrumental music for 25 years. And this was, I enjoyed it very much. And every summer, since I was a teacher, I had the summers off and I went sailing with my family. So that's Jen and Ellen and myself. And we raced the boats, we cruised the boats. And then I found that the town of Hamden, Connecticut, where I was teaching, decided that they didn't want instrumental music anymore on the elementary level, which cut into my heart because I had been enjoying it for 25 years. So I retired and I had to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And Jen made the wonderful, enthusiastic idea of doing schooners. Since we were up in Maine, we saw these schooners. Why not do it? So we did it. And so here we are now with two schooners, and they're mighty wonderful.
They're
and we
mighty
take people
wonderful.
out and we go sailing.
And about
That's
what year was that, Jen, when you started this thing up?
So
I
got the phone call in 92, right? 2 months before I was graduating college. And he's like, what am I going to do with my life? You have to come home. We have to have a family conversation. And being a family of three, it's very easy.
Yeah, yeah.
and hard all at the same time. But we made this decision that we had to find a place to do it. And the 3 finalists was Portland, Maine, it was Annapolis, and then it was Charleston. And Annapolis it was America's sailing capital. And believe it or not, there was only one boat and it only carried 6 people. So there was no way that more than 6 people could sail in America's sailing capital. So it was a no-brainer.
Very cool. Now, Jen, you had spent, if I remember, a semester at sea, right?
Yeah, I did it on board the
Talk about
Spirit of
that.
Massachusetts, which is now fondly a restaurant. It's now in a parking lot. Yeah, long story. Anyway, but yeah, it changed my life. So
Very cool. It's funny how there are programs for youth out there that do that. And that's such a perfect time in your life. I like to think that I've ruined a lot of people's lives by sending them out. So far, so good. Now tonight,
It truly is amazing when we take people out for a sail and you look at their eyes and watch them open up if they've never been sailing before and saying, oh my God, this is not just a trip. I'm not on a bus.
well, that's true. And the thing is, not many people have access to this. And to get out there, it's amazing how great everybody feels going 5, 6, 7 miles an hour. It's crazy. And we love it. They love it. And boy, have you guys built a heck of a business. It's very, very gratifying to see. Would you like to run your video now for everybody, or do you want to talk a little bit more about the making of it?
I would love my dad just to just quickly just say how you and Mom put this together, because this was put together in 1993.
Oh, okay.
The film, yeah.
You'll see by the pixelation later, but yeah.
Right. I mean, we were using tape recorders to record what was going on.
Yeah.
And that was the most modern thing that we could get at the time. So the chance that the fact that we did this was absolutely marvelous. I remember going on board and taping them constructing the boat. And I remember at like 3 o'clock in the morning, they were trying to put in a piece of wood that you had to flex to get it into place. And the struggle went on and on and on. And I caught just when they finally got the piece into place.
Oh, no way. No way.
There it was. And I had it on video.
Oh, it's a miracle. Now, once you had it made, you had to edit it up. What was that like?
Well, Ellen helped quite a bit with that. She is a computer specialist and an artist in her own way. And she understands videos, and she knew where to make the cuts and for both aesthetic and for practical reasons to do what we did. And then I came up with a script, and we just made our decisions as a team. The 3 of us, and that's how it got started.
Yeah. So what we're going to see here is the building of Woodwind, and then also the sailing of Woodwind. So it's a pretty comprehensive piece. I think I saw this at Fawcett's with you guys, maybe
Right. Yeah. Good many years ago.
something like that, a long time ago. But if you're ready to roll, let's do this thing, okay? Here we go.
This is Woodwind. This is why I love my job. My crew and I have the privilege of sharing this thrill with as many as 48 passengers. Some people ask me why she is called the Woodwind. She is made out of wood, is carried by the wind, and I play and taught wind instruments for 25 years. Let me introduce you to my family. My wife Ellen, my daughter Jen, and me with a full beard. This is our 21-foot sailboat. My wife Ellen and I have been married for 37 years. She taught art in the public schools. I am grateful for her love and courage to leave her profession and be part of a new business. My daughter Jen is 6 years old in these pictures. She is now Captain Jen. She found a place for us to start our business in Annapolis. She did this right after graduating college. Here she is in command of her own small boat. Please look carefully at this picture. This is what is called a framed hull. Much of the information that follows is based on an understanding of this picture. Woodwind is a stripped planked vessel. Think of the frame as the rib cage of a skeleton. The large backbone at the bottom of the hull is the keelson or hog. In this presentation we will call it the hog. The curved timbers that look like ribs are called frames. The floors are not so easy to spot. They are the short timbers which connect or clamp the frames to the hog. The large flat dividing walls are called bulkheads. There is only one plank on the hull at this time. It is the horizontal board that is halfway up between the hog and the top of the hull. Keep those terms, hog, frames, bulkhead, and planks in your mind as John Scrano and I point them out to you.
And then set up the stem has been scarf jointed into the hog. It's supported on this strong back. We will bevel the hog to match the bevels on the stem. After most of the planking has already been installed and we're supporting the boat on its planking, when we can pull out the strong back material and then proceed to put the correct bevel on the hog to take the rest of the planking going aft from that point. And you can see we've got the first 4 of 8 bulkheads installed at this point. The rest of the bulkheads will go on next. After the bulkheads go on, we'll put on some stringers and we'll attach the rest of the 50 frames against those stringers. So,
what you're looking at is the transom or stern connected to the hog. The timbers running perpendicular to the hog are the floors. They have not been glued down or fastened. They will be later. There's a bulkhead. There are more floors. The openings that are cut into the bulkheads give access into the cabin. John?
like that.
So that's a frame right
This
there.
is basically,
That's a floor.
this is the floor. It'll be just like
There
that.
it is. The frames going into the floor are going 90 degrees to the hog. The floors are the clamp. John is now going to explain how the frames are constructed.
These planks with resorcinol glue on both sides, then they'll be stacked up together to make up the total 2.5-inch frame thickness. And that laminate will be set down on this jig, which is just plastic film over the full-scale body plan drawing. And the planks will then be pulled in with bar clamps against the dogs laid against the lines of the body plan section and clamped into place and then lifted off after it's dried tomorrow morning.
Notice the force needed to push the frames into position. What does not show up clearly on this view is that the white plastic you see on the floor is actually clear plastic over a full-scale model drawing of the boat, so that the frames are going to have the exact shape that they need. The full-scale drawing was done on the computer that John has, and this kind of drawing using a computer is called CAD, or Computer Aided Design. It's a wonderful program that saves a lot of time. They are now cutting the frames in half, and one half will be the right or starboard side and the other half will be the left or port side. So you get two frames, one for each side, from each frame that is glued down on the table. The other thing notice is that these men are wearing coats. It's wintertime and it's cold in Albany. Now for a little review. Here's the framed hull. You can see the frames going into the hog, and the floors clamping the frames to the hog. Now John is going to explain how the boat is planked.
Okay, so we were saying that this is the guide for the master plank. It'll be the first plank that we put on the boat, and it's positioned such that the planks will bend fairly along the full length of the boat with minimal edge set or minimal twisting. So from this point, we'll plank up probably right up to the shear point as the first step in the planking. Maybe a foot on the port side, and then another foot on the starboard side, another foot on port, another foot on starboard until we reach the shear point. At which time we'll take our guide off and continue planking on down. All of the first plank that we put on will be just parallel with this guide, the full length. So what we do is we coat each frame with glue, maybe up 6 inches or so, or as far as we feel that we'll be able to get, for that day. And then we'll bronze fasten the plank as well as screw it to each frame. And then before the next plank goes on, both edge surfaces of the planks are coated with epoxy resin and drawn up tight. And then the adjacent plank is again bronze fastened to each frame on top of the first plank, so that the whole boat, when it's finished, is locked together in a monocoque, rigid, mechanically as well as glue fastened.
The workers here are clamping, gluing, and screwing the planks in place. Now the hull is almost completely planked. The planks on the bottom of the hull will be put in place later. This allows tools and workers to enter the boat without always having to climb a ladder. That plank that you see that's standing up from the others is the master plank. Now that the hull is planked, Bob is fairing the hull with a power planer. This heavy tool weighs about 20 pounds. Imagine how tiring it is to hold that tool over your head as you plane the bottom of the hull. Still, it beats hand planing. Now that the hull is complete, you can see the interior construction. We're looking at the galley area where the cooking is going to be done. This is the settee area you can see next on the left, where people will sit down to eat. On the right is the captain's cabin. Again, this is the settee area where the table is being measured. Now here they're using a Spanish windlass to get that carlin in place. It takes that much force. It's a pretty neat invention. Here the keel is being faired. The keel is hollow. It's made of fiberglass and epoxy resin, and it will be filled with 14,000 pounds of lead, which will act as ballast to keep the boat sailing upright. Has anyone ever built anything in your basement just to find that you cannot get it out the door? Maybe you have heard of someone else making that error. They are actually dismantling the front of the shed so that they can get the boat out. They actually anticipated this. The building is such a ramshackle old place, kind of put together with spit and glue. Watch carefully on the ramp. The ramp in the boat will sag or kind of bounce under the weight of 36,000 pounds. This is as close to giving birth as a fellow can experience. Here the boat is being taken out of the shed, and every time that boat bumps or jerks, I'm watching this and I'm saying, oh my God, after all this work, I can just imagine the boat falling off the ramp in a major calamity. Careful, boys, careful. The boat has been placed on a crane and is being lowered onto the keel. Notice the struggle to maneuver the boat onto the keel bolts. The keel bolts are going to go right through the keelson. They are 1 inch in diameters, and they are threaded rod. Here the keel, bottom of the boat is being prepared. Here the epoxy is being spread. That's John, the designer. Everybody gets involved. They're all spreading the epoxy to glue the keel onto the keelson, onto the bottom of the boat, or the hog. The engine on this boat is a 100 horsepower Volvo diesel, and it's being lowered in place into the cockpit. And of course, no boat would be complete without the sign or the ship's name on the back of the hull. This is on the transom. And it's being hand lettered. She's doing a beautiful job. Here the wheel is being fitted in place. Not that way. Try it again. Whoop, there we go. Now you got it right. The boat is being towed through the Port of Albany to the launch site. I love a parade. Yum, da 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 da. Here the boat is being lowered by the crane into the water. Watch the worker holding the line that's steadying this boat. He almost gets dragged into the water. There he goes. He's trying to steady the boat. I have to put his feet against the bulkhead to stop being dragged in. There he goes. One giant pull, almost in the water, and he stops it. There he goes. Good. Woodwind tastes the water for the first time. Hallelujah. Now we have a boat, and it's afloat. The boat's going to be motored up to the Schooner boatyard, where the masts and rigging will be fitted out. We still have many days and hours to go, but at least we've got something floating. And she is pretty. So this is the Coast Guard officer. He is inspecting the boat for the final time to make sure that all systems are in properly. This is her maiden voyage. We motor all the way down the Hudson, out to sea, off the coast of New Jersey, up the Delaware River and Bay, and into the Chesapeake. And for the first time now we are sailing. And the kids are so excited they're all going to climb out into the bowsprit. Yep, there they are. That's Jeremy, Jen, and Art.
Woodwind fit.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
So blue, winds I home, a rolling I will go. I'll say no more on English shore to hear the music play. I'm off by the morning train to cross the raging main. I'm taking a trip on wood.
So what is it? It's not a
Woodwind.
ship.
I'm taking a trip on Woodwind 10,000 miles away.
We have not only taken guests sailing, both public cruises and charter, but we have had the boat in numerous videos. Well, this completes the video. We've enjoyed showing it to you, and it's a beautiful day on the Chesapeake. Come down and sail with us. Thanks a lot.
Set sight of grace and beauty tacking across the bay. Staysail schooner rigged, she's swiftly underway. Pride of dear Annapolis and with her noble crew, quickly passing older boats and new. She's the Woodwind, running free, all the way to the windward and lee. She's the Woodwind, hard to lee. Let her go, running free. Hear her hull, it comes alive, and how her rigging laughs. Sails a wave goodbye as she passes all the gaffs. Here out on the Chesapeake amid the schooner race, she's the one that always sets the pace. She's the Woodwind, running free, all the way to the windward and lee. She's the Woodwind, hard to lee. Let her go, running free.
Wow. How about that?
Wow.
How about that, huh?
So many memories.
Oh my God, I'll say.
I think even I had hair back in those days. Hey, you are to be complimented, Ken. That was just magnificent, and that's a fact.
Oh God, it was so neat.
You know, how long did the build take?
Oh God.
I believe I think I can answer that. I believe it took 9 months, like a baby.
Yeah, it's a good way to remember it. That's for sure. And what about the design and the planning to make it? That must have taken almost as much time. Am I right?
So-
Don Scarano was just amazing in the way he had everything on computer, and that they actually, laid the drawing of the boat that had been produced by the program, the computer program, and then matched the wood to the drawing that was under the plastic.
It's an amazing thing to watch a boat build from the beginning. We had Nat Benjamin on a little while ago, and we've seen that lofting type thing before. It's pretty amazing. Ken, you are obviously a teacher. I love the very beginning of the whole thing. Now we're going to come back to this. So you've got the hog and the sheep, and you've got not kidding. It's all good.
Duncan, if I could interject something.
Yeah.
So what was really funny is when my dad and mom first met with John Scarano was in Newport, Rhode Island.
Really?
And the designs, they were at, what was that? The Pearl, Chowder House?
Oh, I know where that is. Yeah.
What is it? The Great Pearl or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
The Black Pearl. Thanks, Mom, in the background. Yeah. And they were drawing out like what the design, and my dad was very, very set on wanting an Alden like spoon bow and not the plumb bows that the Scarano boats, like the Adirondacks and all those boats really have. My dad was like spoon bow. And I want a staysail schooner. I want to be able to, we don't need any gaffs. And it was after what schooner, Dad? The Nina?
And yes, right, very good.
Woo.
Yeah, that was and that boat was sailing up until the, oh my goodness, early 2000, I think.
Yes, she disappeared. Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a modern rig for schooners, and it paid off. We can point higher than any other schooner, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's
And
my
it makes
experience.
all the difference in the world.
I've watched the stern of Woodwind go over the horizon many times.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But you built this boat after having, did you say a 26-foot sloop? Is that right?
Well, but the last boat that we had for our own pleasure was a 31-foot sloop.
Yeah. So how did,
Niagara 31.
And
yeah.
it was designed by Herman Freres. So it was speedy, but she didn't look so speedy. She still looked classic, which I think is what Woodwind, represents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the things about that boat is it's so light. And
Yes.
that's big things that makes it fast. And pretty impressive all in all. Now, how did you know that's what you wanted if you were coming from just coming from a sloop? I mean, did you sail on Adirondack? Did you sail up in Maine? What was that?
We sailed on a lot of boats, mostly up in Maine,
Yeah.
and you could see that these boats, most of them were gaff rigged.
Yeah.
You could see that they couldn't point as high as our sloop. And then all was saying in the same way, like, you need to have a modern rig, but you've got to have some historical basis for it. And the staysail schooner, those boats were built as pleasure boats and yachts for competition. They raced these boats.
Yeah.
And so the staysail schooner between 1920 and 1940, that was its heyday. And they were just gorgeous boats and still are. And that gives us our basis. We're not, we're not a pirate boat, and we don't carry cargo other than passengers. We're built to sail, and the boat sails well. We've been out in the schooner race at 3 o'clock in the morning, climbing up these waves, going at 9 knots, and then scooting down them like a sled and going at 16.9 knots.
Yeah.
That's 20 miles per hour. That
God.
is fast. And the boat doesn't gently do that. You have to control it.
Yeah, no kidding. My God. Anytime we go over 9, I'm terrified. Same old thing.
But I will tell you that my dad had, so we had the crush on Nina.
Yeah.
And that was brought to his attention by, the beautiful photography of the Rosenfelds. And and then also the schooner Brilliant. And if
Yeah.
I can just tell a cute little story here.
Oh, please do.
Okay, so living in Connecticut and my parents sailing around, the New England area, oftentimes we would see the schooner Brilliant. And my dad would go out of his way to try to intersect her.
Yeah, right.
And so much that, it would take hours and hours more on our trip wherever we were going because the Brilliant was coming. So first schooner race we ever do, 1993, we're calling on the radio, on the VHF radio, and say we're coming into Baltimore. And they said, okay, Captain Ken, just go ahead and dock right behind the schooner Brilliant. And my dad doesn't stutter. But he stuttered that day and he's like, Brilliant's here? Like, yes, sir. Did you understand? The Brilliant in Connecticut? and to be able to race her in our first schooner race, she beat us, but it was what a thrill for my dad and my family.
Yeah, it really is. That race has become such an icon up and down the bay. And it's a chance, for those of us who work in the industry to really just celebrate and sail for fun. And that's why we still do it. And I'm so glad you guys do it with us here. We've got some comments rolling along here. Jen, why don't you take a peek in there while we chat a little bit?
I know that, Dad, if you can answer the question of what kind of wood, I think, let me see, what wood was used for the keel, ribs, floors, and planking?
Let's see, you've got the cedar, Port Orford cedar. That was the major wood. Mahogany was the trim, and Douglas fir, which is not really a fir tree, but Douglas fir was the other the other wood that was used for construction.
Yeah.
So where you needed more flexibility, you use the Port Orford cedar. And by the way, talking about global warming, we're losing these Port Orford cedar trees.
Yeah.
We were up in Maine and they were dying because it wasn't cold enough. And usually during the winter, the bugs would die because of the cold. Well, it's no longer getting cold out there as needed for the trees.
Yeah. Here's a blast from the past. We have a little note from our friend Ivor Franzen.
Oh God.
One of your first.
Let me tell you, he's the one who taught us how to sail a schooner.
Yeah.
How to manage all that stuff. Ivor is wonderful. Thank you, Ivor.
Yeah. It's great to see these people pop up over
I
time.
know. And then there was somebody, Kenneth Appleton, he was asking about the yard where Woodwind was built. So Woodwind and Woodwind II both were built in Scarano Boatyard in Albany, New York. They still are building boats. They built, so Woodwind was the second schooner. The first schooner was Madeline, and she was built in 1992. And so when we sailed on her in July 92, I think she was only 2 months old.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the Adirondack 1 was built after Woodwind. So that was 3. And then there was a bunch more. And then Woodwind II, I think, was 8 of the builds of the different sailboats that they built.
Yeah.
And then they had the America in 1995, and then another America 2.0, and I don't know when that was, but they're still building boats and still repairing boats, and they're still there on the Hudson River.
That's pretty cool. About 2 years ago, I took my boat up to Lake Champlain. And so we took the mast down, put them on cradles, and motored right past the Scarano Boat Works. So
Yeah.
I saw where she was launched. It was great fun. Absolutely. The thing about owning a boat and the thing about running a boat business is that you are by necessity forced into doing your own work because you simply can't afford to have other people come in all the time. you, Ken, are very, very mechanical, and I learned a lot from you. Where did you pick that up? Where did you learn plumbing, electric, all this
Well, I
crap?
think part of it has to do, this is gonna sound crazy, but has to do with being an instrumental music teacher. They are mechanical pieces of equipment. They're plumbing.
Yeah.
And if they have to fit together airtight in order to produce the notes that are supposed to be there. And if not, you've got to fix it. You've got to find some way to do it. And so that's part of it. The other thing is I like fixing things. And I got a chance to do woodworking and have my own table saw. And it just was wonderful.
One of the things I learned most from you, Ken, is how to work with epoxy. And
Oh, yeah.
this is, it's got to be 20 years ago or something like that. But what a remarkable material, and the ability to shape and form and all that other stuff that we can do. It was truly remarkable, and I thank you for that. Absolutely. During the build, what was a super challenge for you during that build? Were you ever worried at a time that it wouldn't get done?
Oh, it didn't get done in time. It was in a month
That's
late.
right.
We had planned a girl just out of college in marketing was and advertising, my background, and
Yeah.
we had planned a bar it was a bartending mix-off, and it was to make the signature cocktail of the Woodwind. And then we had Nancy Hammond everybody said she was the best, artist that represented Annapolis. So we had a poster made by Nancy Hammond. And so that was going to be Monday, and Tuesday was going to be this bartender's mix-off. And Wednesday was going to be, I don't know, but, and then we had, the music, and we had befriended them Eastport Oyster Boys before they were them Eastport Oyster Boys. It was Crab Alley with Jeff Holland, and we had all these things planned, and we didn't show up until the last day of it all. And
oh no,
we still didn't have a certified schooner at that point.
Yeah.
So, we did some 6-pack work in the very beginning, but it was also good because then Ivor was down there and he was, showing us the ropes and, and how you work on the boat and calling, like the dock lines, when you throw the dock lines, number 1, 2,
Yeah,
3, 4, like
absolutely.
simple things like that,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it was that was, I think, our biggest challenge. And then Woodwind II, she was what was she? I think she was 2 or 3 weeks late, but at least by then we realized to put a clause in the contract that every time you're late, there was a payment that was left.
Yeah, it's funny how we learn as we go. That's for sure.
Yes.
That's for sure. We're going to get technical just for a second. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what it means to be Coast Guard inspected and your COI, because people are curious, why they can't take people out for pay on their boat.
Oh, wow.
So
Briefly.
yeah, briefly is basically there's rules that are in place to keep the public safe. And in order to keep the public safe, they want you to adhere by these rules and regulations. And these rules and regulations are from anything of how wide the companionways need to be, to which way the doors open, to how high the lifelines need to be, and things like that. Now it keeps going on and on and on of how much sail area you can have and what you can't have up, and why we don't run a spinnaker other than when we have less than 6 people on the boat, or 6 or less. And so that is put in place to keep the public safe and to make sure that we get inspected every year by the Coast Guard. They come down, they watch us do man overboard drills, all the things that a regular recreational boater would never have to do. Is that
Absolutely
quick?
true. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yes, excellent.
For the people who have been watching this series for a while, you might remember our talk with Kathy Bergren Smith called Deadly Gamble. And that was the wreck of 11J Marvel.
Oh my God, yes.
Just before, it was 11J Marvel's wreck which actually was the impetus to create the inspection regimens that we have now. And that came into play probably around mid 50s, 1950s or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. Now, not only have you guys built a beautiful boat, but just as importantly, or maybe more importantly, you've built a very stable business. Is there anything that you would credit to that becoming as successful as you have? What has contributed to that?
I think for what comes into my mind is Jen is just a marvelous, not only does she captain well, but she runs a business well.
Yeah.
And she runs it in a sympathetic way towards those people who either guests of ours, paying guests, or crew members or captains who work for us. She really makes people feel that we're part of a family, and it is true, they are part of our family. And they know that they have to do what is right. And that's amazing. So Jen, thank you so much.
Oh, Dad, thank you very much. And Mom, I hear you in the background too.
Yeah, there you go.
But I would like to just add that, somebody told us very much in the beginning that said, if you want to stay and be part of the fabric of Annapolis, do not go south in the winter.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And I will tell you that, they were saying, be part of the community, get on boards of directors, get it, volunteer, be a part of this town and the tourism in this town, and they'll give back to you. And I think that was, one of the best things that anybody has ever said and to us. And the other thing is that, to try to get all the people that see all the new people coming into town, to get them on the boat so they can experience it. And then they'll be the ones that will then be our greatest spokespeople.
Very cool. I have to tell you too, that I've just had a chat come in from John Ferguson, who was the last living survivor of the wreck of the 11J Marvel. How cool is that?
Oh my God. Well, it is amazing, I would just say, to see all these people that are chiming in and how many we know, how many are frequent sailors, some of which we haven't seen in a while, how many have worked for us. And oh my God, it is overwhelming, I want to say.
Isn't that fun?
I want to just touch base on one of these if I can. Jim Ryder, you were asking about the upcoming changes on the dock at the Annapolis Waterfront Hotel. And I just want to tell you that we have a contract in place till at least 2029. We are not going anywhere. It's just going to be a different restaurant that's there. And we will definitely miss the heck out of all of the staff and our friends at Pussers. But we have to look forward and to the next step, and we will be there.
That's a great answer. It must be very gratifying to see all the people who have worked with you and where they've gone, what they've done. They've taken away a lot of wonderful stories with you all. That's for sure.
Oh, I've got to point out, Jen just finished a journey across the Atlantic from the Cape Verde Islands to the Barbados Islands, 2,000 miles. And the person who was captain on the 64-foot vessel was Andy Schell, and he used to work for us.
I know, that's true. Andy was a crew member of mine back 100 years ago, and now he's way gone past us. Let's take a moment here to talk just a little bit about the schooner race, which you participate in every year and collect clock after clock after clock. What was the impetus for joining the schooner race in the first place? Did you just want to play with other people, or where was that coming from?
It was such a surprise. All of a sudden they said, "So you're going to be in the schooner race?" The schooner race? Oh my God, that's terrific! So that was easy.
Yeah. Jen, tell me a little bit about your experience with the schooner race. Is that something that you just sort of fell into right away because you loved it, or what?
So we loved racing. That was one of the key components of us as a family. And you know, when I was growing up, you know, there was a lot more boys that race than girls.
Yeah.
So I loved it. And they don't, you know, we do the schooner race every year, and it is like going back to my high school reunion that I never went to,
fun?
but that because I have more friends that keep in touch with me through the schooner race than ever in high school or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
It really truly is. The camaraderie of the schooner race is like, you know, going home every year for a reunion.
Yeah, it's like the icing on the cupcake, I think.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's happened over time is that, of course, schooners are getting old and the owners of schooners are getting old. And 2 years ago, we opened up an invitational class for anybody who owns classic boats from the age of schooners to join us. And this seems like a perfect time for a segue. And how much does a segue? And after that, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about wedding crashers. Woohoo! So let's do that. Here we go. Do.
It's a 127-mile overnight race from Annapolis, Maryland to Norfolk, Virginia. It's a celebration of a race to market from an age that has passed into history, a time when the Chesapeake Bay hosted passenger steamers and was peppered with working boats and pleasure craft, all under sail. This is an invitation to take part in a celebration, an invitation to get out on the bay, strut your stuff, spend time with friends, and put some wind in the sails of your beautiful boat. This is an invitation to join the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race. After more than 35 years, the Schooner Race has decided to add an invitational class for non-schooner boats that would like to join us in the fun. Now, whether you have a schooner or classic vessel that harkens back to that age of sail, we're inviting you to join us. This race runs the length of the bay, and participants encounter all sorts of different conditions. It's challenging, and it's a great deal of fun. From the parade of sail in Baltimore's Inner Harbor to the crack of the starting cannon off Annapolis to the early morning finish at Thimble Shoal Light at the mouth of Hampton Roads, this is a race designed to celebrate your rig, whether classic yawl, ketch, sloop, workboat, or schooner. It's a chance to test your skills and enjoy the camaraderie of new friends and old. It's a chance to be part of something big and something meaningful. As an invitational class, the criteria are simple. If you have a vessel, modern or not, which is reminiscent of the age of schooners, you are welcome to join us. In addition, if you or your organization have a mission compatible with ours, promoting awareness of the Chesapeake Bay's heritage and ecology, and or preserving these historic vessels, you'd be welcome to join us too. Applications will be considered by our race committee, and if they feel that your boat or organization would fit our parameters, you're in for a wonderful experience. Join us. Let's get your boat on the line. Or if you know of anyone else who might fit our criteria, send this over to them. Let's keep this great event alive, and let's give back to those who live along our shores. Join us for the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race. It's a ride to remember. To find out more about the race and our mission of supporting not-for-profit organizations on and around the Bay, please visit us at gcbsr.org.
Life is good, yeah. Life is good, yeah. Yeah, in my darkest times, you got me feeling like I've been walking on air.
And that's the schooner race.
Oh, so many wonderful people in that piece.
Oh, so many wonderful people. You know, we've been doing that for 35 years, not me personally, but that's how long it's been going. It's been such a joy, frankly, to be with you two as well. We really have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed standing on the bowsprit of my boat, singing stupid songs across to your boat. Now, before we go, we can't hang up without talking about Wedding Crashers. Tell me a little bit about how that came to be.
Well, they first came to us and told us it was going to be a commercial.
What?
Yeah, they
Really?
first said that it was going to be a commercial, and then and they needed to see the boat, and they came on down, but there was a lot of them, and once they stepped on that boat, they thought it was like watching a you know, they knew it was going to be the right boat. They had seen 60 other boats.
What?
And this was finally the right one. And a friend of mine was helping them with the whole thing. And they said, no, we really need to find a boat that's on the market. Because I guess when they're using things for film, they like to find things that are getting ready to be sold. So the owners have already distanced themselves with their relationship with that home,
Yeah.
you know, car, whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's a cute story you tell about the naming of the boat. Why don't you fill us in there?
So the name of the boat was supposed to be Kathleen for Kitty Cat's, you know, character in the movie, which was played by Jane Seymour. And they came and they were getting ready to put the name on, and something happened and they did it wrong. And we got to leave the name on, but we didn't know how long that would be. And all of a sudden, Christopher Walken steering the boat above me, and he yells up and he says, the woodwind. He's like, John, my boy, man the woodwind for a while. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, and he stares daggers at me, you know, and I'm like, and I was apologizing, but you know, it was already ruined the moment, you know, and then he had to do it 2 or 3 more times. And then he said Windwood. And finally they told me, don't talk to the talent, but I talked to the talent and I said, Mr. Walken, I just want to tell you that I'm so sorry for that first gasp, but I didn't know the name of the boat was going to be in here. I thought it was going to be a different one. He's like, yeah, me too. And I'm like, well, I'm so sorry. It's just that my dad was a music teacher, and to hear the name of the boat, Woodwind, and that it's going to be in the movie is so exciting. And he's like, Woodwind, where did he teach? And I said, in Connecticut. He's like, I live in Connecticut.
No
and
way.
Guess what? He said Woodwind every single time after that.
And God bless him for that.
Yes.
What a great story. Well, that's really put you guys on the map, and it's been a lot of fun. We've got a clip from it here. Should we play that?
Sure.
Let's do that. Let's get over there, and I'm going to size the screen for a second, and then I'll hit go. Hang on just a sec. Oh, so many complicated technical things to do. Let's roll this thing. Here we go.
Where's Sack?
Oh, he's still not feeling very well.
Well then, we sailed without him. John, my boy! Yes? We're tacking back round. Do me a favor. Ease the sheet. Swing the jib starboard. Okay. Let me... Oh. One minute.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Oh, just swinging the jib here for your dad. Starboard. Trying to get it over here and crease the sheet.
But starboard's this way.
Oh, that's right. What am I thinking?
I'll help.
Okay.
Hang on. All right. Watch the jib boom.
Oh.
All right. Push it this way.
is better.
Come on, use some muscle.
There we go.
All right, that's good. Done, done.
Yeah, I'm used to sailing down under with the Kiwis, so everything's backwards. Even the toilets, when you flush them, the water spins the opposite way. Really freaks you out the first time you see it. Ah.
John, my boy! Come on up here. Man the Woodwind for a while.
On my way! Hey, your dad was telling me about a great beach near here that maybe we could check out if you have any interest when we get back.
Yeah,
Great. Okay, can get confusing up here. If you have a problem, just give me a call.
thank you.
Ah, sailing. What do we got, Captain? Take the wheel.
Thanks.
Now, how would one get to the Sook's Bend?
Actually, it'd be a really nice bike ride.
Well, that...
Everything's ready for the quail hunt.
Sorry, the quail?
Yeah, it's a clearly family tradition.
Well, I think you might have to deal me out on this, because we were gonna...
Nonsense, I insist. John, you gotta go. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Zach, honey, you a little bit sick for hunting?
Oh, no, I'm great. Honey, I'm great. Oh, I'm going. Right? Right?
Okay, you're going, so, guess I'll see you later.
See you later.
Just take it easy, okay? Okay.
Mr. Environmental's also a hunter. It's kind of an interesting combination.
I hunt quail, Jeremy. They're overpopulated in this region, and they're decimating the grubworm population. You got a fucking problem with that?
Not nearly as much as I do with the attire that you have on, or just your general point of view towards everybody. But let's go kill some birds.
Always a good one. Love to see that.
Oh my God.
Takes you back, doesn't it?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So they got such beautiful, beautiful shots.
Oh, wonderful. And that was before drones. Did they have a helicopter flying around?
Yeah, they did. It was making me very uncomfortable because I had to leave the boat with somebody else steering the boat, and I had to be down below, and he was like our water coordinator. Yes.
Wow. So he was looking out, right?
Yeah. Well, that was in the Miles River
Oh my
near
God.
St. Michael's. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no room there. It's unbelievable. Now, people probably don't really know this, but you were steering the boat, even though it looked like he was, right?
Yeah. So I was actually down below him, actually steering the boat with a compass on my chest. And yeah, well, he was above me.
I gotta love that. You know, I've got a picture or two to show about that. You want to talk to the pictures as I show them?
Sure.
All right, hang on just a second. Let's get you up here. Boop, boop, boop.
This is pretty cool. Yeah.
I've never seen this guy before. Who's he?
Yeah. So that's Christopher Walken. Well, you know, what everybody sees in the movie.
Uh-huh.
But really,
Oh, I've got the wrong way.
that's it. All right. So there he is. And you could just see there's so many people on board the boat. But when they show the film, they're all hiding down below.
Yeah. More importantly, you can see Vince is sitting there reading the sports page.
Exactly.
It's crazy how many people it takes to make a movie. That's for sure.
Yes. Hurry up and wait.
Who's that?
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Great little picture. So you were actually able to make the boat go where you want without looking and with a
Yeah.
compass on your chest.
Yeah, that was as we were headed right into La Trappe, Maryland, in like 6 foot depth, and it was making me very, very anxious.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
Because the boat, if I remember, draws 7. Am I right?
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, I thought so. Thought so.
But we didn't hit. We didn't hit.
Oh, nice.
And there's Miss Jane Seymour. And the funny thing about this one is if you look at her heels on the very bottom, there's a big anti-skid, anti-skid and soft spot so that she could wear them on the water. She ended up losing, all she was supposed to do was have a drink in her hand, a crystal, beautiful crystal like glass. And and it just kept falling off. And on the sixth one, they're like, this is the last one. You gotta hold on to your glass.
Now, how many glasses had she put down by that time?
Yeah, and then there's Emily. Oh, that's nice to see Emily.
Oh, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, there he is. And here you are next to him.
Yeah, and I'm steering with my foot. And this is the first moment that I get a glimpse of, this is the over the shoulder shot. So if you see right above my head is the camera, and then right to the feet of the guy in the blue jacket is the monitor. And that monitor is showing exactly what that movie camera is seeing, which happens to be the view I see every single day standing behind the wheel. And it's all in full def, in high def. And I'm like, I just started bawling.
Oh, I love that. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, and that's the view.
That's the view, but without the deck boxes. All of the life jacket boxes are off. We actually had to get the Coast Guard's permission to take the life jacket boxes off the boat, put all the life jackets down below. We even had to get permission to change the name of the boat, even though they didn't end up doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
How interesting. Yeah. How interesting.
Yes.
Wow. Quite a view. And there he is again.
There he is again. Now you all know I'm underneath.
Gotta know it. Oh man, what fun. Well, that really was quite a feather in your cap. And I hadn't realized they'd looked at so many boats before.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was just, it's very amazing that movie has moved on to the famous movie that it is. And next year is 20 years.
No way.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, then we'll let you go. But over the years, can you sort of name a challenge or two that really was something to overcome as you built the business?
I hear my mom talking in the background, but I can't hear what she's saying.
COVID.
Yes.
Talk about that. Let's see what happened. Yeah.
And that's when we ended up making zones on the boat so that people would be able to sit in their zone and not have to wear a mask, because there are people that were in their zone were 6 feet away from anybody else on the boat. And that was a very trying time.
Yeah. Now we lost passengers, right?
Yeah. So we were at half capacity. But on the other side of it, the people that came sailing with us during COVID, it was the respite and the moments that they needed, and their way to get out on the water doing something that they love in some sort of normalcy.
Yeah, and I do remember that feeling for sure. Well, Ken, let's put a button on this. Tell me a little bit about how you feel after starting a business like this and finally retiring.
I don't know. I mean, I like being retired. On the other hand, I do enjoy each season I get a chance to go out. And last season I actually did some captaining, not just crewing. And it was very nice and very rewarding and very difficult. And but it's I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. Well, it is remarkable the effect you've had on our town, on the sport, and frankly, on keeping these great old boats alive. And I sure appreciate everything you've done. Here I am at the lofty position as the chair of the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race, and without you guys, we would be a lot smaller race. That's for sure.
And we so appreciate your efforts.
Well, we've enjoyed every minute.
It's really important. Thank you.
Jen, I'm going to let you have a chance to put a button on this conversation. And how's it been for you growing up? You really have grown up. in this business, and this is now your life's work.
I'm still 5'0". Haven't grown that much. But it's amazing that I'm so lucky to have two wonderful, parents that believed in my crazy idea and who have put money down to make this happen. And then now, it's all paying them back as well. And to be able to do something with people that you love, and that is something that you also love, is quite a challenge. I guess I really just want to take this opportunity to thank, everybody that's been here and all the beautiful comments. And it's, like I said, it's overwhelming, but I also want to say, if anybody is interested in working with us, we are hiring for crew and also for the dock staff that ties boats up to go indulge and eat at Passers for this year, and then or visit downtown Annapolis. So
What's happened?
Yeah.
Ed Reel has got his hand up now. Ed, I have to say that I'm not sure what else to do unless you type something in my chat for me. So put your hand down and type a chat, and then I'll let you go.
I'm like, I don't.
It's lonely up here at the top. I'm just saying. All right. Well, I want to thank you all once again for a wonderful, wonderful presentation. I also want to encourage those of you who are watching to join us at amschooner.net to learn about the American Schooner Association. And we are looking for classic boats for the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race, and we're looking for schooners and work boats too. So if you know people or if you have boats like that, we would just love to have you along. All right, it's time to share screen one more time. Toodaloo, Ken.
Thank you,
Toodaloo,
Duncan.
Ken. Take care, everybody.
Bye, Jen.